Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Eureka Math. This is sixth grade math. We are working on module number 2. Okay, and today we are focusing on lesson 6, more division stories. Okay, so example number 1, divide 50 by 2/3. So step 1, decide on an interpretation. So for today's purposes, we are going to focus on partitive. Okay, so we are going to focus on partitive interpretation. Okay, and so then we are going to ask ourselves, 50 is 2/3. 2/3 groups of what size? Okay. Okay, and then before we draw the model, let's make sure that we mention that our problem here is 50 divided by 2/3. Okay, and so in this case, 2 it's the dividend. Okay, so it's that dividend, and then the number 3 at the bottom, it's the divisor. Okay. So then let's go ahead and draw our model here. So the model is going to be based on the second fraction here. Typically, when we do partitive interpretation, our model is based on the second fraction, where I'm asking myself, 50 is 2/3 of what group size? So what does that exactly mean? This is what it means. So let's draw the model first of all. Let's do the model. Okay. Let's break it around right there. So then I'm going to need to shade 2 out of the 3. Okay, so there's 1. And then there is a second one. Now, this represents 2 out of 3, which is my second fraction, right? But then that also tells me that those 2 out of the 3 is 50, right? Of a number that we don't know. So we don't know that number, but what we do know is that those 2/3 represent 50. We do know that, right? And so if we know that those 2 out of the 3 represent 50, then I know that each one is 25. And if I know that the first 2 boxes are 25, so then the third box is also 25. And so there's no number there, then it's going to be 75. 25 plus 25 plus 25 will give me 75. And so 50 is 2/3 of what group size, and the group size is 75. And it makes sense because 50 is in fact 2/3 of 75. Okay, so then I'll need to add another 25 to make it a 3/3, which makes a 1 whole, right? So it makes sense. So then if we do the math here to find the answer, we already found the answer. But we can say if 2 units have a value of 50, right? Because these 2 units have a value of 50, then that means that 1 unit, then I can divide 50 by 2, and that will tell me that each one of those units, it's 25. And that's why we said that each one of these 2 units is 25, because both of them together are 50. So then that also tells me that the whole thing, all 3 units, has a value of 3, because it's 3 units, times 25 each one. That would give me 75, and that is my answer. Okay? Okay, and then step number 4, choose a unit. Here, you can choose any unit of measurement that you like to create a story or create a situation. Let's just go ahead for our purposes and select dollars as of units of measurement. And then to give you, if I can give you like a set up a situation based, step 5, set up a situation based upon the model. Okay, so then maybe you can say something like Adam spent 50 on a new graphic calculator. This was 2/3 of his money. So then we can ask how much money did Adam, did he start with? Okay, so that's just an example. Okay, in exercise number 1. Okay, so exercise number 1 says, using the same dividend and divisor, work with a partner to create your own story problem. You may use the same unit dollars, but your situation must be unique. You can try another unit, such as miles, if you prefer. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually try miles this time for this example. But remember that we have to use the same dividend and the same divisor. So then we have to use 50 divided by the same dividend and divisor. So that would be 2/3. So then we can say something like, this is an example here. Ronaldo has ridden 50 miles during his bicycle race. So during his bicycle race, and is 2/3 of the way to the finish line. So then the question would be, how long is the race? And then your answer, of course, will be that the unit of measurement will be in miles. Okay, so let's go to example number 2. Example number 2, divide 1/2 by 3/4. So step 1, decide on an interpretation. We're gonna stay with the partitive interpretation. Okay, so let's say that we are going to do partitive interpretation. Now remember, typically for partitive interpretation, we based our model on the second fraction. Okay, so we're gonna be basing our model on the second fraction. When we use measurement interpretation, we based our model on the first fraction typically, but for partitive, we based it on the second fraction. So then we ask ourselves, so then the question is 1/2. Okay, so 1/2, because the first fraction is 1/2, is 3/4 of what number? Okay, so then let's go ahead and make sense of this question. This is what we're asking. Let's go ahead and draw the model. So then remember, we're going to use the second fraction to base of model. So we're going to have to draw 4 little boxes, and then we're going to shade 3 out of the 4 because it's 3/4. So let's do that. Okay, so here's our model. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and then there is 4. Now we're shading in 3 out of the 4. So 1, 2, 3 out of the 4. So there's my 3. Okay, this is my 3 out of the 4 to represent my second fraction. So then I'm saying that that has a value of 1/2. That's what we're saying. So we're saying those 3/4 are 1/2. So this, the whole thing, okay, the whole thing, all three of them have a value of 1/2. And so that 1/2, this 1/2, it represents 3/4 of what number? And the what number is the entire thing. So we're looking to see what the value of all 4 of those little boxes is. So again, I'm looking for the value of this whole thing. That's what I'm looking for. So then the question, 1/2 is 3 out of 4 of what number? Okay. So to find the answer for this, then I have to figure out, right, what is the value of this, and this, so that then that will give me the value of the last one. I have to add them all together, and all of them added together will give me the answer I'm looking for. Now, in order for me to find out what the value of this is, there's 3 squares that are shaded, and all 3 of them together are worth 1/2. So then I'll have to divide 1/2 by those 3 units so that it can tell me the value of each one of those little boxes. So if we go to the next section, to step number 3, find the answer. I already know that all those 3 units, they have a value of 1/2. And so then if all 3 of them are 1/2, then 1 unit, what I will need to do is I'll need to get that 1/2 and I will need to divide it by 3. Okay. So to do that, what I will do is I can do my reciprocal method, where I keep the first fraction, change from division to multiplication, and then do the reciprocal, 3/1. Remember, because there's a 1 under the 3. So now what I do is I multiply across. I'll do 1 times 3 is 3, and I'll do 2 times 1 is 2. And then the one thing I didn't do here is I didn't do the inverse. So then I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this one. Okay, get rid of this. So keep the 1/2, change, and then do the inverse. So then in this case here, the 3 was my numerator. Now it has to be my denominator. 1 was my denominator. Now it has to be my numerator. And so now I can do my multiplication. So 1 times 1 will give me 1. And then 2 times 3 would give me 6. Okay. So then that tells me that this 6, this 1 over 6, 1/6, that's what each one of these little boxes are worth. So 1/6, 1/6, 1/6. Because 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6, that is 1/2. So then that tells me that the one that's missing is also 1/6. So then therefore my answer is 4 out of 6. So my answer, I can simplify it, right? 4 over 6 can be simplified. I can divide by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And then 6 divided by 2 is 3. So my answer there is 2/3. So the answer I'm looking for there is going to be 2/3. Okay, so then if I continue here, then I can say that all 4 units then have a value of 4 times 1/6. And this is going to give me 4 times 1 is 4. And there's a 1 under 1 times 6, it's 6. So there's my answer. This can be simplified further into 2/3. Okay. And then for step number 4, choose a unit. You can commute. You can choose any unit of your liking, any unit of measurement. But in this case, As an example, let's choose time, some kind of time measurement. How about let's use hours? So maybe we use hours. And then to come up with an example for step number 5, set up a situation based upon the model. We can say something like, after traveling for a half hour. Okay, so after traveling for a half hour, Scott completed 3/4 of his commute. So then we can say, how long is the commute? Okay, and again, so this one would lead us to our original problem, and our original problem is 1/2, right? 1/2 an hour, and then divided by 3/4. Okay, so then we can say that his commute, then it will be 2/3. Okay, so okay, so let's continue. For exercise number 2 there, it says using the same dividend and divisor. So we have to keep using the same, the same problem, dividend and divisor. Work with a partner to create your own story problems. Try a different unit. So again, you can use a number of different scenarios here, different situations, to come up with. Let's go ahead and give you an example here. So we can say a snail saw food sitting a distance away. Okay, so after traveling for half, let's just say for a half foot, a snail, so the snail covered 3/4 the distance. Okay, so then the question is, how far away was the food? Okay, so then we'll have to do the division, and then that will lead us to the answer, which is 2/3. Okay, so it's 2/3 right there, or 4/6 foot. Okay, so there's that, and so that's by example, and then there's a problem set. So that's the end of this lesson. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask. Hopefully you find some value in this. If you do, give it a like, and I will see you on the next one. Okay, adios.